hope all of you have had the time to sit down and catch up on The Legend of Korra on Netflix, because it is really well done and a lot more mature than Avatar: The Last Airbender. That's not to say that ATLA is bad, but it is super light and fluffy by comparison. Anyways, Kuvira, the Great Uniter, is the Season 4 villainess who made the Earth Kingdom into the Earth Empire. But what do we know about her? Well, Suyin, Toph's youngest daughter, said that she thought of Kuvira like a daughter. Kuviras Family had died in the metalbender city Zalfu when Kuvira was only 8 years old, and Suyin had watched out for her ever since. Other than that, we know that Kuvira manipulated every city in the Earth Kingdom into falling under her rule, and she used to be engaged to Batar Jr. until, that is, she tried to sacrifice him with a spirit cannon, like you do, and that's it. That's all we know. So what is Kuvira's full family history? Let's talk about it. Hey friends and family members, I'm McGann, and welcome to the Fangirl, a series that cannot stop geeking out over Korra. Now, a lot of people have speculated that Suyin is Kuvira's mother because the two have the same unwavering attitude and some physical similarities as well, like their wavy hair. However, I don't think that notion works. Kuvira had parents until the age of 8, so she has memories of them. And even if she had been Suyin's daughter and was adopted, the question would be, why? Suyin, to me, came off as a woman who is very devoted to her marriage, so I don't think that she ever cheated on Batar. And even if she had, Su would have just said that Kuvira was one of Batar's children too. I mean, they had so many, it's not like he would notice. And if Kuvira had been some love child that Su had before she got married, why would she hide her? Su's mother was Toph. Toph was never married and she had 2 daughters, meaning Suyin was never raised to believe that having a child out of wedlock was a problem or something to be ashamed of. And with how much Su loves and supports her other 5 children, no, I don't see her tossing one of her biological kids to the side to satisfy social norms. I mean, this woman made an entire city. She's not exactly a norm follower. Not to mention, Kuvira gets engaged to Su's son, so you really think she's gonna let incest happen just for the sake of a secret? Besides that, I mean, yeah, Kuvira and Su have similar hair, but look at their faces. There is almost no match there at all. You know whose face I do see though? Zuko's. Really, Kuvira not only has the same fury as Season 1 Zuko, she's also got the family eyebrows that look amazingly close to General Iroh, Zuko's grandson. But how would a child of Zuko's end up as an orphan in the Earth Kingdom? Well, I'm glad I asked because I thought of that too. Remember when Zuko briefly dated that girl Jin who lived in the lower ring of Ba Sing Se? Those two seem to have a great date in the Tales of Ba Sing Se episode, but then we never see or hear from Jin again. Now, keep in mind that the date we saw was only a short part of that episode, and since Jin frequented Iroh's tea shop, there's nothing to suggest that those two didn't meet again off camera. After all, Jin was a girl who seemed to know exactly what she wanted, and Zuko was the poster child of nobody understands me brooding. It might as well be a match made with Velcro, and it's not really hard to imagine that 2 teenagers who like each other and have a spark would, you know, do some R-rated stuff between the episodes. I mean, hey, Sokka got some action in an episode, so these kids are a lot more active than we think. Except for Aang and Katara, because those two are perfectly pure and sweet and innocent. Until they get older, and they're not anymore. But then Zuko ends up poisoned, and Azula shows up in Ba Sing Se over the next few episodes, so it is kind of easy to lose track of someone under those circumstances in a time before cell phones. And even if you follow the Avatar comics, Jin believed that Zuko left town with the circus because that was his cover story. At any rate though, Zuko goes on to become the Fire Lord, and Jin has no clue whatever happened to her crush. And as far as things go, yeah, a city siege is not a bad cover for a pregnancy. Sure, I was totally married when I got pregnant, but he died when the city was attacked. Yeah, the Fire Nation killed my husband. Even in the most rigid of places, nobody's gonna question your honor there. Plus, considering Zuko was basically consumed by the Fire Nation, it's not really a lie. And don't tell me that Jin should have realized that Zuko was the Fire Lord at some point, right? Because don't forget, Zuko gave Jin the fake name of Lee, and photographs weren't a thing yet, so it's not like Jin ever saw Zuko's teenage face again. She was just old school ghosted. So Jin has her child. Because it's a one family household, she kind of struggles a bit, and they stay in the lower ring of Ba Sing Se, and we actually do know another family in the lower ring of Ba Sing Se in Korra. Bolin and Mako's grandmother Yen. And I think that Yen just might be Zuko and Jin's daughter. Now, true, we don't know a ton about Grandma Yen, but one of her grandsons does share a voice actor with young Zuko and General Iroh.
Just try it, buddy.
Isn't that strange when they could have chosen any voice they wanted for that small recurring role? We also know that Yen had a son named San who moved to Republic City, got married, had 2 sons of his own, and then Yen questioned nothing when all contact suddenly ceased, which made Mako and Bolin grow up all alone when they could have been with their family all along. And with how large Yen's family is, do you really think only one of her kids ever left Ba Sing Se? Earthbending seems to be really strong with Yen's family, so it's not unreasonable to imagine that one of her kids might have been a metal bender who took off to Zaofu to make a new life. And if that child had gotten to their 30s and then died in Zaofu, leaving a child behind, well, Grandma Yen does not have a good track record of keeping in touch with her grandbabies under these kind of circumstances. So everything kind of lines up nicely to make Kuvira, Bolin, and Mako cousins. And if I'm right, then they're all Zuko's great-grandchildren that he never even knew that he had. Now, granted, this is all conjecture, and the entire point of Kuvira might be that she is a loose Hitler spoof, because he was also somebody who rose to great power hostilely, and who was also born to nobody parents. However, after reading the comic The Search and seeing all the stretching and backflipping the creators did to give Zuko's mother a very complicated side story, I don't think it's unfair to offer more to Kuvira as well. Kuvira had way more screen time in the show than Ursa, and she deserves to be fleshed out too. It might not be reality, but theories are more fun. You know what? This is a good derps time to have a second and talk about Noom again, which is the healthy lifestyle dieting app that I'm currently using. And I think last time I really got into it and talked about any health stuff in derps, which, by the way, the theory's over. We're just kind of hanging out a bit, having an extra bonus vlog at the end of the video for people who want to stick around. But last time I talked about Noom, it was all, on a high and positive, and now it's been a few months, so I've gotten a lot more experience with the app. And I will say I still think I like it better than Weight Watchers because of the articles, but there are a number of issues that have come up along the way. Mainly the biggest issue is that the app includes a lot of food tracking where it's automatically set like, hey, you ate this one serving, so that's this many calories. And those calories can be a green food, a yellow food, or a red food, and that's sort of a way you're supposed to partition how much you eat of what in a day. So like red foods are really dense, and then green foods are more like fruits and vegetables and things that are good for you that have a lower caloric density. But I've noticed many things are mislabeled in the color because you're supposed to be able to calculate it with some kind of math. I've heard a lot of people complain about the colors, and I've noticed it too, that it doesn't always make sense. But even more so than the colors, the calories are off off on a ton of foods. For example, when you are trying to change your lifestyle and eat healthier, going to McDonald's might not be something that you would think is something that you would do. But I have 3 kids. They are always on the go, and sometimes there is just no other real feasible option available than getting fast food. And at least where I'm at, McDonald's has taken away grilled chicken. They have taken away all of their salads. And, you know, those were like the only 2 relatively healthy things you could pick from their menu. And yeah, I know Wendy's has all the salads. Huzzah, they've got salads for days. But my autistic toddler does not like eating at Wendy's because the fries have like brown pieces on them, so he won't eat the food. And I don't really like Burger King because everything again that was healthier there is not available by me anymore. And I just don't like the big greasy heavy burgers. So at one point we're at McDonald's and I'm like, fine, I'm gonna get myself a cheeseburger Happy Meal because, you know, at least it's small, and if I'm gonna eat bad, at least I'm not gonna overeat bad. But when I get in the app to try and log what I ate, it says a cheeseburger is 600 calories at McDonald's. And that didn't sound right to me, especially since I had the paper on the back of the menu right in front of me and it said their cheeseburgers are 300 calories. So that's a huge discrepancy, and after noticing that, I have noticed that that is a constant problem on most of the food that I input. And it's not a big deal if you're looking at the bag for something and you can see the nutritional value and just pop it right into your app instead. You know, you can switch over to the calorie part instead of the serving part and enter exactly how many calories you had. But then you get certain things like watermelon, and the app is telling me that 4 slices of watermelon is like 500 calories, which does not sound right at all. But I don't really have a good way to check that. And at the same time, when you are paying kind of a lot for an app and it's not accurate and they're not fixing it when you update them of these issues, then that's a problem. Like, if I have to babysit the app, then maybe I don't want the app. So that's the biggest issue that I found with Noom. Then with the articles, I do really like them. I think the articles make Noom worth more than Weight Watchers, but the articles are all split off into these 3 different stages. So you're in like stage 1, stage 2, stage 3, and each stage has little sub chapters of different lesson plans. I think some of them are like 200, 300 lessons long. And stage 1, it was really great. It seemed like it was really in tune with me. It knew where I was psychologically, where I needed help. And it was just some really great advice that was easy to implement. And then somewhere about halfway through stage 2 of those articles, it just seemed to railroad me back into some generic articles that didn't really apply or help me. And a lot of them got really repetitive, which on the one hand I get when you say something over and over and over and over again, it sticks in your head better. But on the other hand, it's starting to feel like Noom is making up filler articles to try and keep me paying for the app longer. And I'm not sure that I like that. And especially when the advice is things like, well, give yourself 15 minutes to de-stress in your day, or hyper plan everything that you're going to eat in a day. That doesn't always work for me. As a mother, and especially a mother to special needs children, that doesn't always work. So I need something that is more fixated to me. And so many of these articles seem to be looking at things from the angle of, oh, you are a single career person who has all the time in the world to focus on themselves. I need something that is going to focus on a 30-something mother who has a husband that's a major food pusher. Like, I need advice for that specifically right now, and I'm not getting it. And right now I am in stage 3 of the articles, which is the final stage, but there are several different chapters, and I'm not even out of chapter 1 now. I'm actually getting so just sort of exhausted from the amount of articles every day that I'm reading less and less, and they're starting to pile up on me. But Noom will only let you read so many articles in a day as to not overwhelm you. So it's really hard to catch back up now that I'm starting to slip in my motivation. And then the third issue is the groups and coaches, which I was really excited to get, but they're kind of useless. The one-on-one coach I have isn't really responsive. It takes her days and days and days to get back to me. And when she finally does, she usually just copies and pastes something generic or sends me an article. It's like, I could have looked that up myself. I was asking you for specific advice based on my information. And then with the group has a coach that doesn't really interact or respond to anybody. She just posts generic pre-made statements and pictures. And then all the people in the group post individually, but nobody will converse back with you if you try to start any kind of conversation or answer their questions or anything. Like, nobody is responsive. So that has been really disappointing. And all three of those things have impacted how I feel about Noom. But I will say the positives that I've taken out of it, especially in the earlier on articles, have been beneficial. Like, I have lost weight, not as dramatically as I have when I've started Weight Watchers, but I do honestly feel like it's a more consistent, realistic, long-term solution. Not just like, okay, I did this specialty diet that I can't sustain forever and I lost weight, but now it's just going to yo-yo right back up out of control. I don't feel that way about Noom. I feel like the weight loss and the mental tactics are real and good and helpful. I just don't know that it's a program worth paying for months and months and months, especially if the calorie counter isn't even accurate. But I will tell you guys what I tell everybody else that I've been chatting up on the internet about this. I see Noom popping up in the weirdest places. Like, I'm on some Harry Potter crafting groups and people will post like, oh look, they did a Death Eater joke in the Noom app. And then the comments will be like, well, what do people think of this? You know, how do you like this? And I always end up in there like, well, you know, here's what I honestly think. And my advice to all of you out there is, if you are interested in weight loss, maybe give it a try. Definitely give the trial a try. It's not a free trial. You do have to pay a little bit for it, but I think you can still choose how much you pay. And then see if that works for you, if that pushes your buttons. And if it does, then sign up for another month or 3 months or a year, whatever floats your boat. And hopefully that helps you get where you want to be. And oh yeah, I do have to say this for legal purposes. Noom has given me a free trial of Noom for 8 months, and so I am trying and recommending based on that. But as you can see, I don't just have all like, yeah, sign up attitude about it, so I'm not trying to scam you to make money. I do have an affiliate link in my description. I would appreciate if you used it, but I can't make you use it, so that's up to you. Honestly though, here is what I would flat out recommend trying. Do the trial, pay your, 5 or 20, whatever it is, to do like a 2-week trial, and then cancel it and let the retention department start coming after you, because they're going to keep offering you better and better deals trying to get you to sign back up. So do what's smart for you, save yourself some money, and if you happen to use my referral link, I do appreciate it, but again, it's not required. I'm talking just to talk, because that's all I seem to do anymore. At least I don't have to read this and memorize it off a screen and go like, okay, memorize this line, now say this line, because that gets really stressful. And I notice I keep like, you'll notice as the video goes on, I kind of start having my shoulders devour my neck because I get all this heavy tension just trying to do this right and perfect, and I could never do it. So I love to take these derps at the end of the video and talk like a normal person and more relaxed, and if I flub up my words, it's not the end of the world, because 99% of you aren't watching to the end anyways. But thank you, you lucky 1%er. I love you, and we will see you next time, family members. Bye! This mama bag is so cute, but the ears won't stay sitting out so that it will look cute on camera. And that makes me an angry panda. Except for Aang and Katara, those two are perfectly pure and sweet and innocent. I mean, come on, they already had so many kids, he probably wouldn't even notice if another one was slipped into the pile. Besides that, got like bulldog jowls in here. It always sounds so like spitty and gross and clicky. Well, family members, we're almost done, but I want to invite you to hang out with me in some other places. I'm on Twitter and Instagram as my own personal self, and I have a Facebook page too, but I mostly just post photos over there. And sometimes people say, "Hey McGann, I want to mail you something. How do I do that?" Easy. Just click the About tab on my channel page, and my most current P.O. Box info will be right there. I also run another channel, The Family. It's really a hodgepodge channel where we might post anything. Oh yeah, and I also sell shirts and stickers and stuff with the Family and the Fangirl logos. If that is your cup of tea, I have a link in every description of every video. Finally, if you want to help out the Fangirl channel and make sure I'm putting out video essays for years to come, the best way you can help is by subscribing and watching more of my videos, whether they're new, old, whatever. Maybe even share one or two on social media, help spread the word. People who watch to the end of videos like you helps to tell the site, hey, this is a good video, we should recommend it to other people. So if you made it this far, leave me a comment of something like, hey, I made it to the end. Love ya. See you next time, family members.